Welcome to IVF This, episode 180, IVF and the writing reflex. Welcome to IVF This. I'm your host, Emily Ginn. After 10 years of primary and secondary infertility due to both male and female factor infertility, I am now the mother to 3 beautiful miracles. I am married to my favorite person in the world. I'm a social worker, a life coach, and an IVF warrior. I'm here to teach you how to manage your mind and emotions during your IVF journey, to break free from anxiety and regain control of your life, even in the midst of infertility. I'm going to teach you how to say IVF this to how we think about, talk about, and experience infertility. Let's go. Hello, my beautiful friends. I hope you're all doing so well. It's been a while since I've done this, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. Now, usually I'm talking directly to you, my beautiful IVFers, the one walking this journey, the ones carrying this weight, navigating the heartbreak, the hope, and everything in between. But today I want to talk to the people who love you, the people who are in your life and want to help, partners, friends, siblings, coworkers, parents. This one's for you guys. Now, IVFers, don't go anywhere. I think you will find this episode helpful too, maybe even cathartic. And who knows, maybe it'll give you some language for the next time someone asks you, what can I do to help? If someone you love shared this episode with you, first of all, thank you for listening. You're here, which means that you care deeply. And I want to say that speaks volumes. So thank you. But I want you to understand the writing reflex. So what is the writing reflex? The writing reflex is our human instinctive urge to fix something. It's the voice inside that says, let me help, let me offer solution, let me say something that'll make this whole thing better. And it's a beautiful instinct. Like truly, it comes from love, it comes from care, and it comes from wanting to ease suffering. But here's the twist. That reflex to solve, to fix, to make right, tends to actually do more harm than good, especially when you're talking to someone who's experiencing infertility, going through IVF, someone who's experienced loss, who's grieving, things like that. Now, this term, the writing reflex, comes from a counseling technique called motivational interviewing. It was developed in the 80s, and practitioners noticed that when they jumped in too quickly with advice or solutions, it actually made people more resistant to change. More resistant to change, right? Because they didn't feel heard. They didn't feel understood. They didn't feel seen, right? And that's the same thing that plays out during infertility or any type of grief experience that someone is having. So if your friend or sibling or coworker, someone that you know is grieving yet another failed cycle, maybe they haven't even started IVF and they're in that period of time where they're trying to get pregnant, they're actively trying to conceive, and it's just month after month of, periods and negative pregnancy tests and things like that. You can jump in with, well, at least you can try again, or don't worry, your baby is coming, just relax, things like that. What they might hear, even if that's not what you're meaning, is you need to move past this. Your pain is too much. I don't want to talk about this anymore. That's the writing reflex in action, okay? So let's talk about why this well-meaning reflex actually makes things harder. The writing reflex often bypasses emotion. It skips kind of right over the person's pain and lands directly in the land of solutions. So when that happens, the person who is hurting, the person that you're trying to help, feels minimized, dismissed, or like their feelings are inconvenient. So let's say your loved one shares that their transfer failed. They're devastated, understandably so. And the response is, don't give up. Now, it's probably said with all of the love in the world, but what it feels like is something like, you're not allowed to feel hopeless. Your feelings are making me uncomfortable. Things like that, right? And it means different things to different people, right? This is my perception. This was probably more of my experience and what I hear from my clients. But what I just want you to understand is there is what you say, there's what you mean, there's what we hear, and then there's what we make that mean. And that is formal communication, verbal communication right there in front of you. 4 parts of it all the time. Now, when we jump to solutions, we miss the crucial step, which is witnessing. Witnessing someone's pain, being present with someone's pain is what fosters connection. Not advice, not platitudes, just presence. And this goes for your internal writing reflex too, right? Because it's not just someone else's writing reflex. We all have an internal writing reflex. So if you're a partner support person and you're thinking, I should know what to say, I should be able to make them feel better, that's your own writing reflex showing up, right? That pressure you feel to like say the right thing, that desire to ease pain, totally normal, right? But it can be so healing to acknowledge, I can't fix this. I can only walk beside them, right? And that is how I can actually help and support, is just by being there to witness what is happening for them. So the writing reflex can show up in a lot of different ways during infertility and IVF. And it could look like a few. So I have like a vignette of conversations that some of my recent clients have told me about that I think would be really applicable, right? Scenario 1, you're trying to give a pep talk and your sister says, I just don't know if I can keep going. I just don't know if I can keep going. I don't know if I have this in me anymore. And you respond, but you have to. You're so strong. You'll regret it if you quit. Might feel encouraging, right? But to her, to the person that you're speaking to, the person that you're trying to foster connection with, it might sound like your feelings of wanting to stop aren't valid. Like you don't get time off from this. You have to keep going, right? This is, maybe it can even feel like this is bigger than you. You have to keep going. So you could try instead. That makes sense, right? I can see how exhausting this has been for you. What do you need right now? Let them tell you what they need rather than you assuming and falling into that instinctive writing reflex. Another scenario is maybe your loved one, whomever that is, are trying to tell you about a new protocol. And you say, have you thought about cutting out gluten? My friend swears by it. Have you thought about just going to Vegas and getting drunk? It worked for my sister's cousin's post office mailbox mailman person, like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon between, you and this ethereal person who got pregnant via IVF, right? It's not bad advice on its surface, right? Even the Vegas thing can feel kind of fun. But unless they're asking for a suggestion, it's probably like you're definitely not what they need in that moment. So try instead asking, how do you feel about this new approach? What are your thoughts on this protocol? Chances are you might not even know what a protocol is. I'm here to tell you a protocol is the medication regimen for an IVF cycle, and they tend to get moved around. They get changed, they get altered, and that's what that person is speaking about, right? Oh, I don't know, they added this blood thinner. Well, what do you think about that? What are your feelings about this new approach? Do you think that'll help? Something like that, right? Last scenario, your friend, your loved one, whomever says, our last embryo didn't make it. And you respond with, well, at least you know you can make embryos. Ooh, that one stings. That one stings. It's the minimization of loss. Loss is loss, no matter how you spin it, right? Losing the last of your embryos can feel as devastating as a miscarriage, can feel as devastating as the loss of a loved one, right? Because to us, to IVFers, to people who've been through this process, those embryos represent a loved one. I still have a watercolor picture of the embryo that we had in our failed transfer, right? The embryo's got a name. When I was, in that waiting period, the 9 days between transfer and the beta blood test, I had all but, seen that child walk across his graduation his high school graduation. Those represent people to us, very real people, very real representations of love, right? So instead, you could try something like, I'm so sorry. That is heartbreaking. Do you want to talk about it? You don't have to. You don't have to talk about it. I can just sit here with you. Something like that, right? So, what does support actually look like? First and foremost, validate. Validate first. Before you offer any advice, any encouragement, any deflection, just validate. I'm so sorry this is happening. That makes total sense. You're not alone in this. Number 2, let them take the lead. Again, ask them questions. Hear it from them. So ask before you offer is the way to remember that. Do you want to talk about it? Would it help to brainstorm or just vent? Are you looking for advice? Are you looking for suggestions? Or do you just need to be heard and seen? Because I can do all of those things, right? The third step would be to hold space, not answers. The journey is full of unanswerable questions. And that's just the process. That doesn't even include the unanswerable questions that the person going through infertility and IVF are constantly ruminating about, okay? The gift you can give is presence, not perfection. Just being there without judgment, without fixing, I swear to you on all that is holy, that is enough. Resist comparison. Even if you're experienced with something similar, remember that no two stories are the same. And this is true for any grief experience, right? But instead of, I know exactly how you feel, try, I can't imagine exactly what you're going through, but I'm here. Like, yeah, I went through IVF myself. I went through 2 full rounds, 3 transfers, but that doesn't mean that I know exactly what my client is going through, right? They're talking to me. I have a general idea. I'm not in their bodies. They know their life better than I do. And that is one of the core social work principles that I fell in love with a long time ago, that you can use without being a social worker, you can use in any setting, which is to meet the person where they are. That's one of my favorite things in this world is just meeting someone where they are. I don't have expectations all the time. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I try not to have expectations, not to have some sort of understanding about them or their inner workings or whatever. When I'm going in to have a conversation with them, I just want to see what they're going through, what they're experiencing, what they're seeing, what they're perceiving, and go from there. I know that I gave a lot of examples, I gave a lot of information, and I did it very quickly. But to the loved ones listening, I know that this is vulnerable and this is hard, and you're really going to feel uncomfortable, and it's scary to say or believe that you might say the wrong thing, right? It's uncomfortable to sit in someone else's pain. I do this for a living, and I can confidently tell you it doesn't necessarily get easier. You may get better at it, but watching someone and witnessing their pain is not comfortable. It's very, very vulnerable. It's very, very, it will strip you down. And that's okay. Please know, above anything else, you don't have to fix them. You don't have to fix their emotion. You don't have to fix their experience. You don't have to fix anything about them. They're not broken. The situation is screwed up. They're not broken. They don't need to be fixed. They just need to be listened to and seen and validated. And to my beautiful, wonderful IVFers, if you shared this episode with someone that you care about, I hope it helps you feel a little bit more understood as well. You are not asking for too much. You are not being too sensitive. You are a person going through an incredibly difficult time, and you want your people to walk with you. And they just might not have the language or know how to do that exactly, but now they can. Now they can meet you where you are and validate and witness and be present. Okay. That is what I have for you this week, my friends. Be gentle with yourself and each other. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of IVF This. If you like what you've heard, click subscribe and follow to make sure you don't miss an episode. And if you want to learn more, head over to www.ivfthiscoaching.com to learn how to work together.